Hi everyone and welcome back to the Naio Nails channel. I'm Steffi Fernandez and in today's video we'll be creating marblings and a gorgeous marbled jewelry kind of design. Jewelry? Yeah. Jeweled, marbly designs that I've got ready over here. Let me just show you quickly what it looks like. Ooh, how gorgeous is that, guys? Let's get cracking. Right, so before we start our design, we are going to actually create the ink that we're going to use for this design. So I've got some of our cuticle oil bottles, which is just gel polish bottles that are empty. I've also got some Sharpies with me, and I've got gel residue wipe-off solution. Now, trust me guys, if you're going to do this, you want to be wearing gloves. Don't do a Steffi and think you can be clean and get all of it like neatly everywhere, because it doesn't work. If I take off these gloves, it's not a good sight. So we need to have a funnel, a small funnel if you have one. And if not, then one of those little squeezy things that you can kind of suck up the water or the gel residue wipe-off solution. Yeah. What is it called?
A pipette.
What he said. What he said. We'll get that. Get one of them, a funnel, and an empty bottle. Now it's also optional if you want to use some of these. I do usually tend to have them because I do a lot of craft. So it's like a mixing bowl, so you can dump one of them into the bottle to keep it nice and mixed, after you do your thing. So to get a gorgeous ink solution, we're going to go ahead and just drop in a little bit of gel residue wipe-off solution. Now, I'm not going to fill in a full bottle, just I would say probably a quarter, something like that, because I want it to be very, very pigmented. So the more alcohol you have, the more diluted it is, right? So I want it to be rich in color. So I don't want to lose that pigment. Now, I've taken Sharpies from earlier, and I got Drew over here to break them for me because it took me hours when I did it yesterday. So what you want to do is be getting that ink from the midsection of the Sharpie, on the inside that, holds all the ink for the Sharpies. And what we want to do is be squeezing that ink into the bottle. Now, what I found that works better for me is if I fold it first into two, and then if you squeeze it, then both ends just drain down rather than just draining one and then maybe the ink will come upwards. So you want to be squeezing the ink into that funnel, and it will really stain it, but that's okay. Just get a new one after. And then really squeeze it in and try and get out as much ink as possible. And make sure you don't touch your face after, unless you want permanent makeup on it. So I'm going to really squeeze it in. I think I've kind of got out as much as I can. And I'm going to close the bottle and just give it a good shake. And that's ready for you guys to use. That's all it took. Two things, gel residue wipe solution and a Sharpie. So I've created this one here for you, just so you can see how it's done. But I've also created quite a few earlier on. I've got this color over here, which is a gorgeous green. I've also created a gorgeous blue one. and a gorgeous black one. I always suggest get a black and a white one, always. They are, black and white and me, it works well. So I'm gonna put these Sharpies away and I'm gonna use them to create some marble designs in a bit, but for now we're gonna use the colors that we have over here. So I've pre-buffed a nail earlier on, and I'm gonna go ahead and use just Snow White for this design and whack a nice layer on top of the nail. Now, you don't have to go in with 2 layers for this design. That layer that I'm putting on right now is purely to have some sort of background, because obviously the ink is quite transparent, right? Right, so I've got my white color ready over here, okay? And what I'm not gonna go in with the second coat, like I said. I'm just gonna leave it at that because it's just to add a little bit of opacity to this whole look, if it makes sense. Now I've got my 3D brush, which I love, of course, and I've got my inks over here. For this design, I'll be using a dark blue, a dark green, and a black one. Now, most people that do marbling think that you need to actually paint those lines on top to create the detail of the cracks or the lightning kind of look that appears on the marble. But today I'm going to show you a different technique that works for me, basically, and I hope you guys will like it and try to apply it for when you do nails. I'm going to take that mixture that we've created here and I'm just going to dab on all over the nail. It doesn't have to be a clean application. You're just applying it all over the nail. All right. I'm then going to go in to that second color, which is the darkest green, dark green, sorry. And then I'm going to go in and add that on random spots on the nail. I'm gonna add a little bit more. I do love this green. The good thing about making your own inks is that you can make a variety of shades, where I think when you buy them in the store, it's quite limited to what shades you have, So it's always nice to kind of make your own. Yes, you can buy that, but make your own and you'll have more of a variety and more colors. Now what I'm going to do is I've put some gel residue wipe-off solution in a dappen dish, but it's a little bit tinted because I've done this design just before filming, so ignore that. I'm gonna go into my, oh, I forgot to do one more thing. I'm gonna go into the black color that I forgot over here, and I'm gonna kind of map out those lines, the cracks, the lightning kind of lines that appear on the nail without spreading the color too much. So if you can see, what I'm doing now is I'm just making a few lines and I'm just gonna leave it at that. So let me get a close-up for you so Drew can get that on camera maybe. So I've created those lines just using the black ink. Okay, so it looks like this. All right. Now I'm gonna go in with my 3D brush and I'm gonna just dip it into that alcohol and I'll start diffusing the colors together. So firstly, I'm just patting it on just to kind of mix the colors together. All right, so just so I can get a nicer, cleaner transition between both colors. But I don't want to mess it up too much because I want to get a few tones in there, all right? So I'm just gonna do this in different spots on the nail. And this is one of the reasons as well that we've put white underneath, because it kind of, you give it a natural highlight without trying. And now what I like to usually do is really dip the brush, remove the excess, and what I'm going to do now is start basically, I place the brush down on the nail as flat as possible, and I start kind of rubbing the brush up and down. So I'm moving the product and I'm creating the line without drawing it. So I don't have to go in again and start drawing the line. Can you see what I'm doing here, Drew? So I'm just moving the color and I'm creating those lines without having to go and do another step later on and adding more detail. And I'm going to go ahead and do that wherever I want that line to appear. And some of the lines will be thicker than the rest, but you don't want them to be very uniform because, you know, it will look more natural if you leave it slightly, you know, thicker in different ends. So I'm just pushing the product over here. Again, pushing the product, pushing it, and I'm creating that line. Now I really like the way it looks now already, but I do feel that I might want slight more color on it. So I'm just gonna go back into my ink. Green or blue? What do you reckon?
Maybe
a
bit more green.
A little bit more green. That's why we get on.
Is that what you were thinking?
Yes. I'm gonna put a little bit of green here. A little bit of green here. Just to add a little bit more depth. Look how gorgeous this looks already.
That's made it that.
So nice, isn't it? It's that extra little touch that you need sometimes. Although I won't lie, like, I don't know when to stop. It's terrible.
It's a serious problem.
It really is. I'm surprised Drew doesn't fall asleep when I paint. Sometimes I'm like, oh, let me just do this and let me just do this.
You're too loud for that.
Right. Now I love the way it looks now. Let me just show you what it looks like. Absolutely stunning. And we didn't have to go back in with a detailing brush. I didn't even use my 0003. Actually, it's too early to say that because that's what I'm going to be using next. But I didn't have to go in with a detailing brush to create those lines. I've done that all with a 3D brush. And it looks gorgeous and so natural and stunning. Now, you don't cure this, but I do want to make sure that the alcohol evaporates and it actually dries quicker. So I'm just going to pop it into the lamp for a few seconds just to make sure that layer is nice and dry. So we've got our kind of marble layer over here dried. I'm going to go in with, guess what color, Drew?
Sirius Black.
Oh, how did you know?
It's either that or Snow White.
Oh, is that right? Right, so I'm going to go in with my favorite detailing brush and Sirius Black. Now, I have mixed a pigment over here of silver pigment and base coat just to get a nice silvery color that I was after. And then I've got Sirius Black. Now what I'm going to do to achieve this gorgeous jeweled look is go into that brush and start creating, go into Sirius Black, pick up some of the color and start creating a nice thick border on the nail that we just created. So it's a nice thick line and you don't have to worry about it too much as long as it's nice and thick. All right, so I've painted the whole border, which is super thick for a reason, okay? And I'm gonna pop it into the lamp for about 15 seconds and flash cure that so it doesn't move. Right, this bad boy over here is nicely cured. I'm gonna go into that silver mix that I've made earlier on and just pick up some of that color and create a border on top of that, which is kind of thinner, okay? Just like this. And I'm gonna follow that all around the nail. I love wearing rings.
Are you a silver or a gold gal?
I would definitely say, I think gold suits my skin tone better, but I like tarnished silver as well, so it's both. But I've realized as I grow older that no matter what I wear, I can rock it well.
Good answer.
That's it. So I've got border number 1 ready. I'm not going to cure that yet. I'm going to go in with the same brush, same mixture, and create another border that's parallel to that, but leave a gap in the middle, okay? And it doesn't matter if the black comes through, it gives it a nice effect. So we've got 2 borders parallel to each other ready. And before we cure it, I've got an itchy nose. And before we cure it, we're going to go in with one of our dotting tools and pick up the thinnest side. And I'm going to go in and dip it onto that silver. And all I'm going to do now is fill in with dots in between, all the way around. Ooh, look at that. That looks insane, if I do say so myself. And there you have it, guys. Look at that. So even Drew can get a little close-up of that for now, but we've not top coated yet. So I'm gonna put that into the machine here, 30 seconds to give it a blast, a good cure, and then top coat it for you guys. And there you have it, guys. My gorgeous ringy bohemian kind of jewelry, marbly nail design done. So let me just show you a close-up of that. Absolutely gorgeous. I love it. You can do it in so many different colors. I've done a couple earlier on. Let me just bring it to the camera as well, just in case. There we go. Hope you can see them well. Can you see them well, Drew? I can't see because I'm blind. And look how gorgeous they are. Something. So here I've used a little bit more green, so it's turquoisey. This I've done with like orange and fuchsia and black, and yeah, those are just stunning. Let me know how much you love them, guys, because I know you do. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, guys. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and tag me in your recreations. I'll see you on the next one. Take care.